Hello artists, today I'm going to show you how to make a dragon eye value drawing. I'm going to start on a piece of paper. You can see it's about the length of my hand, or 6 inches by 6 inches. You don't want this to be very large because you're going to be doing a lot of detail work. I have my paper, I have colored pencils, they're waiting for later, and then I'm going to be drawing with marker first so you can see my lines really clearly, and then switching to one that's in pencil. I put several images of dragon eyes on the Seesaw account, so if you need an image to look at, or you can look up your own. I'm going to start with the pupil in the center. And I'm leaving the top of the circle open because the eyelid is kind of hooded or comes over that. And there's usually the iris or a little sliver of color around the pupil. To really make this dragon look alive, I'm going to put in some shiny spots inside the pupil. And here is the bottom of the eye shape. And then, because this is a really close-up, you're going to see some of the muscles that hold the eye inside the eye socket. Now, depending on the image you're looking at, usually they're starting with some smaller scales right around the eye, and these are going to be more of an oval shape. And then as you start to extend out from the eye, those oval shapes are going to get larger. And I'm not leaving big spaces between these, because if you're thinking about the scales on a reptile, they're going to be touching pretty close together. It's kind of its armor against the world. And I'm going to go ahead and go into speeding up phase so you can see me working on the drawing, but it'll go a little bit faster. We're going to need to use value when we color these to make them look realistic. Value is the lightness or darkness of a surface. So here I have a value scale to practice, and you can do this on a scrap piece of paper with whatever colored pencil you're using, or regular pencil if it's going to be black and white. A value scale goes from light to dark, and I do that by changing the pressure, how hard I'm pressing on my pencil. So down here, I maybe have just an ant crawling on my hand, and then maybe a bee lands. And then as I go across, I start having more and more weight on my hand until finally when I get across, all the way across the page, that's when the elephant is sitting on my hand. Not so hard I'm going to break my pencil, but definitely the darkest that this colored pencil will go. This is a value scale. And here's how it's going to work in our dragon images. And I'm going to switch from my marker to my pencil version. So on an individual scale, I'm going to need to have my elephant, or pressing really hard, side, and slowly I work my way over gradually until I have my just an ant crawling on my hand side. When I move on to the next scale, the same side, the right hand side, is going to be dark, and the same side, the left hand side, is going to be light. It's going to take you a few scales before you start to see these come together to make your actual dragon scale image. Now, one of the fun things you can do with these is color blends if you have different colors of pencils in your house. So down here I'm going to start with the red, and this is my elephant pressing hard side. And then I'm going to work my way into orange, which is a lighter value color. Pressing hard to make that blend, and then slowly, gradually it gets lighter, just the ant crawling on my hand, until I get to yellow. Darker value with the yellow, and then slowly working over to light value. One other thing I want to show you in more slow motion is making your pupil look realistic. So I'm going to kind of block off where my two shiny spots are. This is round like a sphere, so there's going to be a little bit of a shadow all the way around, but I already know from my scales that I want my darker values over on the right hand side. And that's where I'm going to press the hardest. And then as I work towards the left and towards those shiny spots, it's going to get lighter and lighter for value. so I'm going to continue working on this dragon eye, but I'm going to do it in time lapse, so you will see me kind of repeating the same value, dark to light, maybe changing colors to make this look like a realistic image of a dragon eye. So I obviously have some work yet to do yet on my scales, but that's all pretty much going to look the same, and I'll keep repeating that value pattern until I get all the way out to the edges of my paper. I wanted to show you some tricks to make that inside pupil, the eye, the iris, and the muscles holding this place look really realistic. So I'm actually going to look for a regular pencil or a gray colored pencil, and right where this football shape of the eye meets the eyelid, I'm going to do a little bit of value shading from kind of medium pressure to very, very light. That creates the shadow of the eyelid. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom, the lower eyelid, kind of creating a shadow here. I'm going to take a pink or a magenta, and crayons would also work, or if you're doing black and white, it's fine if you're doing all of this with regular pencil. And I'm going to add in those muscles at the corners of the football shape that hold the eye in place. And this is just kind of a backward C shape or oval. I'm also going to add in some veins, which start out thicker and then work to thinner. And then you can decide on a color for the iris, or the colored part around your dragon's eye. Since I have kind of a fire theme going here, I'm going to actually make an icy blue eye in the middle of it. And if you've ever looked really close at somebody's iris, you've probably noticed that there's usually more than one color kind of blended in there, or there might be little streaks of other colors. So I'm going to add a little bit of light blue in here to this one to make it look a little bit more real. You can see in my example up above, I had yellow with a little bit of orange. I have that gray shading and the muscles. So I hope you enjoy making this, and I would be excited to see your finished work posted on Seesaw. Thanks, bye.